Good morning, good afternoon, good morning. What? I don't even know what time it is right now. Hey, aloha and welcome to the Local My Life. I do know my name, so that's one big plus right now. Oh gosh, what a morning, what a morning. I will start off by apologizing if I tend to go a little loco. If loco goes loco today, you know what's up. I have been fighting a migraine since I woke up pretty much all morning. So and I finally just figured out what it is. We just had a flood advisory come into this island. So I'm one of those people. Yes. Are you saying hi? Are you trying to say hi? Back to your chair, little one. And I'm one of those people that when a barometric pressure change happens, my head just, oh gosh, I feel it in my head like crazy, right behind my eyes. And it's just nuts. And here come out the treats. They've been very quiet up until now. So if all of a sudden you see my eyes squinting or things like that, that's me looking at a ring light while I'm trying to talk to all you guys at the same time. So I called in my Nurtec prescription renewal and I'm going to go pick that up as soon as I'm done with this live. So I hope everyone's been having a good week. It is Friday. Thank God it's Friday. I am more than ready for Friday to be here at this point. It's going to be a fun weekend for me. A lot of little fun things going on. Starting tonight with seeing Spider-Man. I can't wait for that. So to start the whole live off, I mean, we had some amazing people coming into chat early today and just sharing their stories with us. As you guys know, we're going to talk about change today and how hard change is, the fear of change. And a lot of times we don't even know we are holding away from making a change in our life that often is for the better because we're scared of what could be on the other side of that. So I wanted to talk about that because as you guys see, we are at December 17th. Okay, the time of coming up with New Year's resolutions, which by the way, I hate and I usually do not make New Year's. For me, I try to look at those types of things throughout my whole life. Okay, January through December. If there's something I need to focus on myself, I try to look at it then. Does it mean I succeed? Oh, hell no. Take a look at me. Okay, I could be doing the losing weight and the exercise and stuff like that. But I do try to look at, I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, it's January. What do I need to change about myself? No. We should always be looking at what we can do to become a better person. So I did want to talk about, because I do know a lot of people, that's what they're looking at right now. What are the things I need to be looking at about myself for next year? And as they're coming up with these ideas over the next couple weeks, they're going to be starting to have those emotions that go along with that. Okay, so we kind of came in here, and I did want to address the people who came into chat first and shared with us because I really appreciated their sharing. Christy came in and talked about she had to make the change, decision to leave her job because schools were closed due to COVID. And you talk about anyone who's left a job. I know there's a couple people right now who have left a job recently for various reasons, whether it's to move on to a different job or to actually change fields completely. And the fear that goes along with that is there's so many changes that occur with that. And from unknown to failure to all the different things that could pop up at once. And not to mention the financial side of it. So Christy, thank you for that, sharing that. And Rubicon came in, and Rubicon was kind of like a little bit different from me in that one of my biggest fears was I have lived alone my whole life. Well, not my whole life, but you know what I mean. Once I got out of college and moved on with my first job and all that, I lived alone. In fact, my biggest fear was being alone. And it took me years and years of coming to terms with this idea that I'd be alone, possibly for my whole life. And I'm fine with it. Yes, I still get scared about it when I'm 70 or 80 years old. Okay, the fears that come along with potentially being alone at that age. But I felt very comfortable with it. And then I moved back in with my mom, and I had to deal with all of the fears of the interpersonal stuff that you usually have to do when you're moving in with someone else. Well, Rubicon, on the other hand, was living alone for the first time. Okay, no family nearby, having to process this is your life now. Moving through past failures, hurt, tackling present fears, learning to, own your own journey. And that's what it's about. This, everything we talk right now, the reason why I wanted to say those words right there is because Rubicon, you hit this on the head here. By us looking at our lives and seeing what needs to be changed, we are taking ownership of our journey, because that's what life is. It's a journey for us to take. And then Advil Lady came in, and my heart right now, because I know you're coming up on an anniversary. Her husband passed away last year in just a couple days' time. And my heart goes out to you right now that my mom, when my mom lost my dad, it's still something, even though it was like 3 years ago, she's still coming to terms with it. She's still realizing new things. Things maybe she hadn't forgiven him for before, and that was holding back on other possibilities. So that is definitely something. And I noticed the date on that, and that date's coming up. So hearts, okay, love going out to you, my dear. So welcome to so many others who walked in while I've been saying all that. Rosaline popped in. Rosaline actually had said, yes, it was finally buying a place of your own and learning how to be comfortable. And girl, sorry, someone really wants to be with me today. So being comfortable in your solitude, that is hard. That was my issue. I had to learn how to be comfortable just being me on my own. Okay, hearing sounds in the house and worried like, oh my gosh, and then just realizing, wait, these are just sounds and things. Sandra, I love you, my dear. I hope things are getting better. I know you've had a lot of stress on your plate, and we all have things. Oh, it's just, yeah, one thing after another. No, Belle, how you doing, my dear? Welcome, my dear. And Joan, I just got your message. Love you, my dear. And also, let's see, who else we got? Sleuth Mom. Oh, thanks for popping in for this one here, my dear. And Robin, love you, my dear. Advil Lady we talked with. Let's see, anyone else I'm missing here before we move on? The Phoenix Project, Miss Amber Ann. I love you, my dear. And sorry, the dogs are getting very noisy, so we will pull out the meatballs. They are not real meatballs. They're doggy meatballs. They're all safe for the very noisy little dogs that I don't want to listen to barking to begin with right now with my head. Diana, girl, I hope you are not getting totally rained out. I just saw what's going on your side of the island. So cross my fingers, my dear. It's working its way this way, something tells me, because I can feel it like crazy. So okay, so let's get working on this idea of the fear of change. By the way, I'm drinking coffee because the caffeine is helpful. I'm moving on from there. So, as I said, change is something that, whether it be, dry right now, but overcast. Okay, crossing my fingers, it stays that way. I notice actually lightning strikes according to my weather app within certain areas of the island. So I'm like, oh God, just what we need tonight. So, but change is always, many of you guys know I used to work in long-term care. Okay, I still work, but not in the facilities anymore. And change was always one of the hardest things that we had to do. Oh yes, Hawaii has the best coffee, hands down, hands down. And change was always hard. And we always had to go through change within businesses. Okay. I would be working as an administrator while we had a new company coming in and taking control of the facility. We were bought out by new companies, things like that. And I'd have to lead the company through that. And that's hard. That's hard because you really never knew what was going to come next. Are benefits going to be the same? Are the work hours going to be the same? Okay. Are they going to be open and receptive to the employees? What about the residents? Because the residents were always a big focus of ours. Are they going to care for the residents as well as the last group did? Okay. All those things became scary. And change would always become a problem for so many of us during that. Same with our own lives. We see things going on, as we said here, making a decision to leave a job, making a decision when you see something inside of yourself that needs to change, but you're comfortable who you are right now, and the fear of having to make that change and not know what's going to come next becomes a problem. So there's so many different things that start happening within change, and it's a good thing for us to be able to step back and just look at why we feel the way we do, recognize some of the symptoms or signs of that fear of change so that we recognize them and can be like, oh, that's what that is. I didn't realize those things were tied together, because I discover that quite often. All of a sudden I research and I find these signs of stuff and I'm like, wait, oh shit. Yeah, that describes me. What the hell? And then I start putting things together and realizing, does that really pertain to me or not? Because sometimes the signs don't pertain to something. Sometimes they do. So, Diana, working on communication with your other half, learning to suck shit up sometimes. Oh my God, yes. I'm working on that with my mom right now. She and I had a knockout this morning. I mean, couldn't find her keys, her mask, her phone, and I was blowing up, and I'm like, why am I blowing up? Because I lose the same things at times, so why am I doing this? And just having to suck it up at times and say, okay, it's fine. It just drives you crazy. Late for a date. How you doing, my dear? Love you. And Canine's here. I love you, my dear. And so to start with, yes, fear of change is a real thing. Okay, and like every real thing in the world, science has to put a name on it. And the name for this is metathesiophobia. And yes, I did just say that word. I can't believe I actually pronounced it. Metathesiophobia, the fear of change. It is a real thing. It's something people train. There are people that actually, for their career, they work on helping people and companies through this fear of change. And how can this fear be experienced, though? Because fear, a lot of times, we think of fear as, oh my gosh, I'm scared. Oh my God. Oh, okay. And you just, it's that like you're watching a horror movie. But that's not necessarily how many of these phobias show themselves. It's not that horror movie feeling. A lot of times it's many other feelings. Darren, how you doing? And yep, hi everyone in Locos Fire Alarm. Locos Fire Alarm just got a ton of food right there. So the fire alarm should hopefully be quiet for a little while. I will find, sorry, the screen just shook. And so fear, and sorry, the dogs are trying to play with each other. Fear can be experienced in many ways, like I said. Okay, it can be anxiety. Anxiety, a lot of times, is what we're seeing when we are dealing with the horror movie type thing. Okay, it's that kind of anxiety right on the edge of your seat type thing. But these types of phobias often do have, okay, full force anxiety. It could be depression, fatigue, pain, stress. Those are just some of them. And think about them, whether it's something external that you don't have any control over that's being done to you, or if it's something about you internally that you need to change, you may find yourself dealing with stress, dealing with fatigue. And inside yourself, I find this with myself, especially when I'm dealing with things internally within myself that I just know are wrong. Okay, when I get involved in drama or things like that, I feel that internal feeling of anxiety building up and fatigue. It's almost this like I'm exhausted, mentally exhausted, because I'm putting all my energy into something that just does not seem to feel right down deep inside. The stress of it, and that gets me feeling sick. The more stressed I am, the more sick I start getting, the more headaches I start getting. Okay, all these things start building. And it's because a lot of times I know something's wrong that needs to be addressed in my life, whether it's a job, my own actions, or whatever. And it's eating me up to the point where I'm getting sick. And all of this just keeps building on top of each other until I either fall down completely sick and am in bed for a couple days, or I finally make the decision I got to make a change for myself. And that's where hopefully today we're able to kind of look at those things and figure out how can you make that change, because the healthier of those two options is making the change within yourself. Okay, making the change to leave, choice to leave that job, making the change to not listen to the drama, making the change to buy your own, okay, leave a relationship, whatever it be. Okay, so why do we fear change though? Because that's what it is coming down to. The whole idea here is the moment we hear about change, we don't want to do it because there's this fear. Okay, this down deep fear about so many things. Okay, why are we actually scared to make those changes? And there's a lot of reasons. There are a hell of a lot of reasons, and they're probably different for each change you need to look at in your own life. For me, one thing might be a fear of failure, another thing might be a fear of success. Trust me, change sometimes is a fear of success. Okay, there's so many different options here. And also some of the different things that do come, childhood experience. If you are looking at making a change in your life, and when you were a child, that change was kind of looked down on or criticized, you may find yourself less willing to make that move forward. Okay, because in you, and I've got the word domestication in there for that one reason. It was trained into you for all those years that no, that's not something we're going to be doing here in this family, because this is how our family reacts. It may not have been the right way to react, but that's how they reacted. So that's always one of the things, is what happened in our lives, our family views. Okay, you find this a lot of times with politics. Your family believes very strongly in this one decision, but you've got this feeling down deep that you're like, I don't think I agree with this. But making that decision to stand up and say, no, I do believe in this, it is actually taking in that, in this fear that you're going to upset family and all your personal outlooks, current conditions. A lot of times, you don't want to push the status quo, because the status quo really literally is what everyone around us does. Peer pressure. Why would it ever feel comfortable to make the decision to go against the grain? Even if you feel that's the better direction for you personally, you're worried about all the other changes that could happen from it. That fear, okay, the fear of the unknown. And that I find probably at the base of a lot of the fear of change is the fear of the unknown. We don't like to know what might not happen in the future. We want to know for sure. If I decide to go out today and interview for this job that scares me, I want to know for sure I'm going to get the job. The job is going to be the best job ever in the world, and it's just going to click, and I'm not going to have to worry about the relationships with people or things like that. There's so many unknowns. If I leave this relationship, okay, whether it be a romantic relationship, a friendship relationship, an online relationship, whatever, I want to know for sure I'm going to leave. People aren't going to get upset with me. That person is not going to talk about me. I'm going to be okay being on my own or have other people to be with me. We want to know all that before we make the decision. And many times if we don't have that answer, it's easier just to stay where we are. There could also be the fear of failure. Okay, one of the best examples of this, guys, is within myself. I have had, many of you guys have known me for almost a year now. And for the last year, I have had this idea for a company. I have wanted to move forward on this idea. I have talked to many of you guys about it. I have not done it. Why have I not done it? I am scared to death I'm going to fail. I am scared to death it's going to be too much for me to handle. I am scared of the loss of my freedom. Okay, anyone who started a company knows exactly all those things that come into play. That fear of failure, that fear that you're going to put all your energy into something and then it could fall apart. It could go bad. It's scary. Hi, that girl. No problem. Stay as long. I just love having you here, even for 5 minutes, my dear. And another thing I personally have connected with fear is a lack of control. We as humans are very control focused. Whether we want to accept it or not, we tend to like to have control over everything around us. We want to know that if something bad happens, we can rein everything in. And sometimes we can. Sometimes we can't. You accept a new job, you don't know where that new job is going to be taking it. I agree, Rosalie, and I need to actually, I've given myself a timeline to finish it. So I've kind of listened to a lot of what we're going to talk about today, and I've been trying to put that in as I've been doing my research. And so that lack of control, that lack of feeling that I know exactly where things are and where things will be very soon. I'm preparing myself for that. Okay, nothing's going to hit me and surprise me because I'm in control. The thought of losing control is extremely rough for many of us, even those of us who are not control fanatics. It's still a fear. When you send your children out to school, for example, you feel that, you know what? They're in a safe place. They're going to be safe until they get home. Okay, they've got good decision-making skills, things like that. But in the end, you're also losing control of a lot of that because they're no longer in nearby where you can grab and pull them back in. Today, there was a big fear, okay, that Annie was talking about it over at 10 to Life. Okay, the TikTok challenge, kids going out wanting to make a big thing about taking a gun to school or stuff like that. And you know what? These are all those things that we get. So parents, what they did, they kept them home because they knew they had that control over their children and the control over ensuring their children were safe. Amber, exactly. We even here in Hawaii, we had a lockdown in one of our schools today. We did not have, it was not founded in the end. It was just a threat. But again, you know what? You got to have that control in place real quick. So it's really, yeah, Rosalind, it's a challenge to not have an emotional attachment to perceived outcome. I like how you're putting that. That's definitely true. So there's a lot of feelings behind change. When change comes at us, we have all these things hit us and we're trying to make the decision for what's the best direction to go. And what is the best direction? And then sometimes it is let them go. The thing with the kids today is a perfect example of it. You have to decide as a parent real quickly. You have a fear of the unknown. You have a fear of, failure. You have a fear of control. You have all those things coming into play. But you have to also make a decision right now. Do I act on this decision? Something may not happen whatsoever, and then I've just done this for no reason. Or do I take the risk because something could happen, and that could actually hurt my child? So here was change in your face, okay, unknown right there. And families had to make the decision. Do I keep my child safe and at home, or do I risk sending them somewhere where they still have their normal day-to-day, but there's a chance that fear comes straight to the doorstep? And everyone has their own decision on how to go towards that. But you had to go through a lot of these same steps in making that decision what to do today. Keep the kids at home, send the kids off. You had to look at those. So as you're seeing something come at you, whether it is something like that, whether it is a job you hate, whether it is a relationship you need to get out of, or being with a group of people that you just don't feel comfortable with, or whatever it is. There's a lot of different signs and symptoms that you're going to start recognizing inside yourself. And one of the important things is to be able to recognize these. And that was why this whole subject came up out of a Instagram post I found. And I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that these were signs of this fear of change. And it just set me down on a research path. Okay, what else is there out there that I'm not catching a hold of that might help me make decisions? So the signs that you are afraid of change, you're seeing something, but there's that fear, that pervasive fear that is just holding you back or making it harder for you to make the decision to move forward. Okay, first is you start realizing you're unhappy, but you're avoiding action. So take it from a job point of view. You're at work every day. You're unhappy. You're unfulfilled. You wake up dreading going. You come home, and the moment you're home, you're like, thank God, and maybe even thinking about, oh shit, I got to go back tomorrow. Okay. Maybe there is a relationship that you're just not happy with, but you're avoiding the action. You know down deep what would make you happy. You know you're not happy where you are right now, but you avoid making that final action because why? You don't know where that action's going to take things. It could take it down a better route. It could take it down a more worse route. You don't know. There could be a failure thing, could be a control thing. But you find yourself, because of that fear, not able to take that next step. Or maybe you start finding yourself, you always look for the small little linings. Okay, so again, back to job thing, because the job's the easiest to see, because I probably think every single one of us in this group has had a job like that at one time or another where we had that feeling. So what you do, you can't make that decision. So you start finding yourself looking for those small silver linings. Oh, but look at it. They give me my 30-minute lunch every day, and they don't get mad at me if I'm 5 minutes late. Or, oh yeah, you know what? At least they don't get upset at me. And you know what? The temperature in the room is nice. They keep the air conditioning on. Okay. You start looking for any little silver lining out there. But through that, you're ignoring huge negatives that, yeah, but my blood pressure is through the roof right now. Or I am always nervous and I can't sleep because I'm scared to death about what's going to be popping up tomorrow. Okay, you forget all the big stuff, those little things, that's what matters. And you know what? Yes, the little things make life livable at times. I hate to say it, but it does. I look for the little things a lot of times in my life because that helps me remember life is good. People are good. You've got to look for those good sides of things, but you can't look at them to the detriment of you as a human being. And that's where the important part is. Hi, Missing in Life. And next, you regularly come up with reasons not to follow through. Okay, so I have that romantic relationship that I know I should not be in. Okay, maybe it's a DV relationship. Maybe it's just they don't allow you to be the best person that you can be, and you fight 24/7. And you know down deep you need to be leaving. And you're ready to, but you keep coming up with every reason in the world. Sorry, puppy wants back up. And why you cannot. Okay. Oh, I've got the kids. And I'll have to deal with all this on my own without the kids. And I've got my finances, and I've got this, and I've got the house over my head. And these are real reasons. I'm not saying they're not reasons to want to stay, but are they reasons not to follow through and look for ways to move forward? If you have that job, the same thing. Oh, I have to look for another job, and I'm just so busy right now with the end of the year and all. I just don't have time to be looking for a job right now. And oh, what happens if I go and I get that job and I find out it's the worst job in the world, and now I'm back to square one? Okay, all these reasons why you can't be following through, but you know you want to down deep. And that's the key. You're coming up with reasons not to follow through, even though your heart is saying, get the hell out. Make the decision to change this in my life. Just do it. The other thing I find a lot of times, and this one a lot lately, is the future makes you anxious rather than inspired. What we do every single day of our lives, every action that we do should be pushing us towards a place in our lives where we feel inspired, where we want to do better. Will we always do better? Hell no. We're going to fuck up. We're human. But we should always be trying to do better. We should always be inspired to be the better person that we can be, the best person that we can be, knowing that best person is always going to be becoming someone else, because once you learn one lesson, you've got another lesson to learn. And so the moment that you start finding out that the future is making you anxious, okay, let's go to drama now. Okay, YouTube drama. When you're sitting back and seeing everything going on, hearing friends talk to you, going into chats, things like that, and you take a step back to think about tomorrow or a couple weeks from now or something, and you're starting to find yourself like, oh my God, this is just getting worse. How many of us have said that? This is getting worse. This isn't getting better. This is getting worse. That's telling you something right there. Because guess what? I don't know about you guys, but when I came here onto YouTube, it was because I wanted to create friendships. I created this channel because I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to be able to work on issues of my own and come together with other people and all of us be here with each other to make these steps forward. But when we're all sitting back saying, this is getting worse, we're not inspired to do better. Whether that is for fun, okay, just the fun channel. Think about Cantina. When we're hanging out in Cantina, okay, it's still for fun. It's the idea that all of a sudden, if I start thinking, oh, I don't want to go to Cantina because it's getting me anxious, which by the way, I don't. I love Cantina. Actually, I'm pissed because I'm not going to make Cantina tonight, to be honest, but that'll come at the end of, I'll tell you guys what's going on because Miss Rosaline's going to step in and help out tonight. But that's what we're here for YouTube from. We came here not for the anxious. We're not here because of the anxiety and the feeling that things aren't going to get better. We're here because of the communities we've created, the friendships we've created, the people we enjoy being with, the entertainment and laughing, whether it's singing karaoke, watching funny videos, things like that. That's what we're here for. So the moment you start feeling that anxiety building up rather than being inspired, that's a sign to you that you're still staying in that anxiety because of a fear of that change. And next, job, kind of addressed this a few minutes ago. Okay, you stay in your job even though you're unhappy. You're not fulfilled. Combine that with relationship, romantic relationship, friendship. You stay in it even though you're unhappy. You stay in a situation, any situation, even though you're unhappy and it's affecting you sleep-wise, blood pressure-wise, dietary-wise. Okay, you start seeing all these things, and yes, late for a date, your spidey senses are tingling, and you're like, I don't want to listen to my spidey senses. Come on, I know better than my spidey senses. Your spidey senses are usually going to be telling you exactly what you need to be doing. And I love the spidey senses because I am so excited about seeing that movie tonight. And next, you find yourself staying the course, even if that course is upsetting. So exactly what I just made the comment about. You come in to a situation, whether it be drama, work, whatever, and you stay there, even though down deep you're like, oh, no, not again, or something like that. You stay there even though you're not happy because you keep thinking something may change. And you know what? Something may change, but your health is worth it. Your happiness is worth that. And so whether that is a job, drama, whatever the hell it is. Okay, when you find that upset feeling, that feeling like, you know what, this is getting worse. I'm not happy. It's affecting my regular life. Then it's time to take a look at where you are in your life and decide, is a change needed? And also your body, and that ties into this. Your body physically reacts to the thought of change. Okay, a lot of times when we're scared and we fear change, we find our body is reacting to that. Okay, I am going to talk drama again with that. You're thinking in your head, oh gosh, I love this. And I don't want this person to be upset or anything. And also, I'm going to stay here. But there's this part way down deep inside of you that is physically, you're finding yourself shaking or getting headaches or, okay, all sorts of things. Your body is physically reacting to the thought of that change. Leaving your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you find yourself with blood pressure going through the roof. You find yourself coming home and eating tons of food when maybe you never would have done that before. Or maybe you find yourself not eating at all because you're just so stressed out all the time. And so instead, your body, because you're not taking the change yourself and doing it, your body's like, you know what? We're going to push it. If you're not going to listen to your gut, we're going to try to make sure you listen to your body. So your body starts reacting and telling you what you need to do. You just need to listen to it. You find yourself taking the path of least resistance to preserve the status quo. Again, one of the main reasons why many of us don't change is because we are scared of the unknown. We don't want that unknown. We don't know what to expect. So what we do is we want things to stay the same, where it's safe at least. We don't want danger. We want safety. And danger is the unknown. So what you start doing is saying you may be married to someone who DV situation, and you take the path of least resistance. Well, I'll just stay here and I'll keep agreeing with everything they say because at least right now I don't have to worry about retaliation or getting hit or things like that because you know what? He'll be happy. She'll be happy. And so you take that path of least resistance rather than saying, fuck it, I'm worth it. And I'm going to start making those moves forward so I can make this change. And next, sorry, I forgot that. So as we're going through this, all these things start popping up in our heads. And we're trying to figure out what to do. It's hard enough to make a change when you're scared to make it. Then you start figuring out, well, how would I do it anyhow? Because I don't want the unknown of having to try to figure and change directions because this may not have worked well. So I go this direction and all that. Yeah, it's crazy. So what do we do? Okay, how can we overcome the fear? Because that's the thing. If we can overcome that fear, then change will start becoming easier to address in our lives. So what can we do? What are some of the different things that we can do in our lives to address the fear and hopefully lessen it so we can move forward? First, therapy. Okay, we talk about therapy all the time. I think therapy is very important for a lot of what we do. Medications can be very important to what we do. Talking, hypnotherapy. A lot of times, especially with change, as I mentioned, with domestication and things like that, our thought process is so ingrained into our psyche. It's not a question of saying, oh, forget it. You could get over this. Just make this decision to do this. No, it's so in our heads that we can't just make that decision easily because it's a subconscious thought. So going into hypnotherapy, talking with your therapist and looking for ways to address that and change that ingrained thought process is probably one of the biggest helps that you could do. Next, embrace the change. Changing is going to leave you feeling vulnerable. You are going to feel that fear. You're going to feel that it's almost like, for me at least, an emptiness in me because I don't have anything to place into what's going to come next. So there's this empty feeling there, and I don't like that empty feeling. So that empty feeling leaves me feeling vulnerable, like anything could happen to fill in that spot. So embrace the change. Embrace that feeling that, you know what, that vulnerability is helping you take that next step. Okay, look at exactly what it is. Keep reminding yourself, why is it you're making those decisions? Look at your future. Okay, why are you making the decision to change your future? Because if you keep reminding yourself of that future that you want, it's going to make things much easier in the end. Break things into smaller pieces. Okay, like so many things, whether it be diet or leaving a DV relationship or whatever. If we break things into smaller pieces, it's going to become easier to do. And please go back to the earlier videos about leaving a domestically violent relationship or something like that. If we break it into things, if you're going to lose weight, you're not going to lose 50 pounds. Oh, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. Here I go. Well, guess what? You're going to wait until you hit 50 pounds. You're going to get depressed and be like, well, this is never going to happen. But if I tell myself, guess what? I'm going to lose 2 pounds. I'm going to lose 5 pounds. Guess I'm going to do it. And then guess what? I'll lose another 2 or 5 pounds. So break it up into smaller pieces, pieces that you can actually attack and you can win off of. Ask yourself why. Why are you doing this? I kind of addressed this a few seconds ago. Why are you leaving that relationship? Why are you leaving that job? What is it that is making you do that? Make notes. It's not enough just to answer these things in our head, because the moment we get scared or we get that fear building up in us, our head's not going to remember all this stuff. Our head is only going to remember the negative. So write it down. Come into your phone, pull up the little portion in there with notes and just type them in there. You're out shopping and something pops up, open up your notes, type it in. When you're having a rough time, open up the notes. Oh, shoot. Yeah, that was right. That was something that was happening that I need to make sure. Yeah, that's why I'm doing this. So know the why. And this is something that I've really tried to work on, and something I need to work harder on. Hope for the best, but plan for the worst. It's not being a negative Nancy or anything like that, because you are hoping for the best, and you've got the best visualized for yourself. You've got that job that you want, or that company that you want to build visualized. But in the back of your mind, have a plan in place in case things don't turn out the way you want. Because at least you don't have that fear of the unknown then. Because if something did turn negative, you have that You already have the action figured out where you know what you're going to do about it. So in the case of the company, if it started going belly up and becoming a financial issue, I would have plans in place to put and trigger so that I would not be having to deal with the financial stress of it all, because I put all this together in my head. Next, surround yourself with supporters. Easiest thing in the world to think of. It's harder to find because all friends are not created at the same level. All friends see support in a different definition. And hey, Pandora, love you, my dear. People see support in different ways. What is it that you see support as? Communicate with your friends what you need as support. Is support being the yes man or yes ma'am or whatever? Okay, or is support being the person that will help support you and help lift you up in the rough times and also continue guiding you towards the goal that you've already laid out to them? Those are the things you need to look at. Develop your group. Okay, I've got a group of gals that I live for. I mean, I know they will have my back. I know they will also put me straight. And they have put me straight before. And also, I have friends. I have my mom. That's what my mom will do for me. If she sees me wandering off too far, she will pull me back. So surround yourself with those people who will support you and pick you up and set you back on the road that you need to be on. Practice what ifs. Okay, that's another one that I think we talk about, expecting the best, planning for the worst type idea. Also practice the what ifs, because that's tied into that. If you are leaving a job and there's so many what ifs. What if I don't find another job? What if the other job doesn't pay enough money? What if, okay, all of a sudden the kids have an emergency and I need extra money? All these other things. Practice those, but practice them not in a negative way, but a positive way. Okay, because the problem is when we think about our what ifs, like I just said, was a single one of those what ifs a positive if? No. Every one of those was a negative. What if I don't find the right job? What if I don't find the right amount of money? What if I don't do this? Well, so step back, okay? Instead of, what if I don't find a job right away because the market's saturated or whatever? Okay, start going on. Okay, well, so if I can't find a job right away, these are some of my talents I can do. I could try to create crafts that I can sell. Maybe I could go out and earn money in these other ways. I have a friend here who would be willing to loan me money for the meantime. All these things that you can do, and it's finding a positive way to answer that question so that you're not looking for that negative response when it happens, because you already have ideas of what you would do. That's what I'm kind of at that. This is where I am right now with the job for me, the creation of the company for myself. I have all these what ifs in my head. And right now they're all negative what ifs. Okay. Even though I know I'd be successful at it and all that, but I need to be able to back myself off and have answers to those what ifs so that I feel comfortable if the what if happens. And practice repetition. Okay, think about an athlete. An athlete becomes the best person in their sport through one thing and one thing only. Well, two things if you count talent, but they repeat. Repetition is practice. If you're a figure skater, you're getting out there and you're practicing those spins and those jumps over and over and over. You're working 8 to 10 hours a day if you're going to go into competitive. Football. Anyone who is good at something practices at it. Singers. People who make it big that you're listening to on the radio and iTunes and all that. I guarantee you they do not walk into the recording studio or the concert hall and just sing. They are practicing every day. They are exercising their tool. Do the same here. Practice the repetition of doing these things. If you need to leave a relationship, start recognizing the things that you need to be recognizing. Start acting on things, small levels of things. Okay, when you're recognizing things that you need to speak up against, start small and keep practicing. Because the longer you practice, the more second nature it becomes. And then it's not a change anymore. Over time, it becomes real. It's what you normally act as rather than something new for yourself. Reward yourself. Okay, this is something my mom and I used to do this way back. She and I did Weight Watchers together. We would reward ourselves. Every Tuesday was weigh-in day. I still remember this. I was in high school at the time. And every Tuesday we'd go to all week, we'd watch our weight, we'd do all our exercising and all that. And every single Tuesday we went in for our weigh-in. And as soon as we were done with our weigh-in, we went over and we treated ourselves at, I think it was Wendy's back then. They closed that place. Reward yourself. If you've done something good, reward yourself for it. Any of you who have children know you are going to get so much further with your child through positive reinforcement than negative reinforcement. How about treating yourself the same way? Use positive reinforcement for yourself because it will make a difference for you. Because no matter what, back there in our brains, that idea of reward or positive reinforcement is going to make things click quicker and make the change to our behaviors happen quicker. Ask yourself the right questions. So hear what I'm talking. Hello, Robbie. Love you, my dear. And ask yourself the right questions. A lot of times when we don't want to make a change in our lives, we will ask ourselves the questions that will keep the status quo going. Okay? We know the answer to all our questions. Trust me. I think every single one of us know the answers to the questions we're asking of ourselves. It's just we're having to listen and look deep down for the answers. So ask yourself the right questions. Ask yourself, why is it you're doing this? What is it that you're hoping for in the future? Those are the things that become very important to us. Reminding yourself, because you're remembering this, you're continuing to ask yourself the questions so that you know what? I've heard myself say it over and over now that I'm going to be successful. And if I have problems starting this company and it becomes a financial issue, I've got this whole plan laid out and I will be fine. I will be fine. Next, be present. Don't dwell on the past. This is where I think a lot of us go. Whether it is a job thing, a relationship thing, a drama thing, whatever. We tend to focus on I can't do this because, last time someone did this or last time I tried this happened. So I can't do it again. I can't do it again because it's going to turn out wrong. And as we dwell on the past, we shut out any potential of the future changing. We forget that everything changes in life. People change. Every one of you here in this chat are a different person today than you were 6 months ago. So why should I make decisions based off of who you were 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago? Because you're not that person anymore. And that's part of the problem. A lot of times we forget. Okay, if you're in a DV relationship and you're making a decision that, I don't want to leave because, I tried to leave that one other time and this, and this happened. You know what? You're stronger now than you were that last time. You've been through something that you had not been through before. You've learned skills that you did not have before. So thinking the same thing is going to happen again, it may. And that's you're asking your questions, and that's you planning. Okay, planning, hoping for the worst, but plan for the plan for the worst, hope for the best. But you know what? Things have changed, and so have you. You've become a stronger person, and give yourself credit for that. So, as we've gone through a lot of this stuff, we've looked at, okay, how to recognize these fears in us, fears that we may not have even noticed were there. Maybe we didn't even realize that we were scared to do something. We thought we were comfortable where we were. We thought we were comfortable in the position we were. And now all of a sudden, as you start looking at all these signs of the fear of change, you start realizing, okay, yeah, I can see this happening, and I can see where I need to be going instead. So for real quickly, I just wanted to kind of remind everyone, because many of these stages, when we talk about cycles, the cycles are very similar across the board, no matter what we do. Okay, whether it's leaving a relationship, dealing with past hurts, things like that, a lot of them are the same. So I wanted to real quickly take a look at those stages of change before we finished all this up today. So the first thing for you, as you're recognizing that you need to change, you've made the decision, I need to leave this relationship, I need to leave this friendship, I need to leave this job, whatever it is this anticipation, it's excitement. Yes, I made the decision. Yes, things are going to change. Oh my gosh, this is going to be great. Everything's set. It's an excitement. Okay, once I make this decision, I'm going to start this company. The excitement, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. This is what I've always wanted to do. I'm going to be able to make a difference in people's lives. The excitement of it is going to pop up for me. And it does pop up for me. I get excited when I think about making that step forward. That is the anticipation of the change. You start moving forward. You're starting to make those changes now. And real life starts to cut in, and some of the negatives start popping up. And you're having to use some of those skills we talked about before. And then you see a stage of regression. Things are starting to go bad. You're not as excited as you were before. Now you're worried, okay, about the financial or the friendships or oh my gosh, people are going to abandon me, or things like that start popping up. And also you find yourself falling backwards. Okay. These are the times that you stop. So many times we find ourselves and we stop the push to make the change because we get scared. All of those reasons we talked about before become full force on us, and we don't want to move forward. This is the time you have to double down. You have to go to those notes on your phone and remind yourself why you're doing this. You're going to go back to that muscle memory you've created by practicing. And you're going to start moving forward, and you're going to enter the next stage. And that next stage is the breakthrough. Now you see the progress. Could be a day later, it could be a month later, it could be a year later, but you see this progress happening. That change you were hoping for is starting to come to fruition. Okay, it could be you've gotten the interview for the job that you wanted. It could be you have left a relationship and you realize you still have all these friends that are here with you. And there might be the possibility that you are just going to be just as happy now as you were in the past. So you're seeing that progress and you're continuing to move forward. And as you move forward, you come to the last stage, which is consolidation. It becomes the new norm. You get that job. You create that, new friendship, that new circle, whatever, and you have a new norm now. A new norm based off of your growth, the growth you have worked through. It's based off of friends who might be at a different stage in life than possibly your past relationship has been. Okay, so many things come together and you now have your new norm. Okay, and that change that you made is now normal for you. And it starts to become easier and easier to maintain. So that's pretty much, change is something that no matter how many times we work on it, it comes back over and over, because life is never going to be easy. Life is always going to throw a curveball at you. There are going to be things that we need to address. And that's why we have to always keep coming back and working on these things. So, hope you guys have enjoyed this discussion today. As I mentioned at the beginning, well, first of all, before I go into that, if anyone has any ideas of subjects for this series or for Missing Mondays, if you have someone you'd like us to talk about, please email me at thelocalmylife@gmail.com. Like I said, these are subjects that I'm working on, but a lot of times I also find out there are issues I need to address in myself that I may not have recognized to begin with. And I find it out as I'm doing research. So please, if there's something you'd like to, I do not need to share your name or anything like that. Just let me know if there's something you would like to have us talk about. And I will do what I can to pull that into a future series or a future episode. Same with Missing Mondays. If there's someone that you would like me to cover, even if it's not on a Monday, you hear of an Amber Alert that needs to get out quickly. I'm working on kind of changing all that around so that we can address things quickly. Because when it comes to missing people, Monday can't wait. We need to do it immediately. So I am going to be out tonight. So Aloha Friday at the YT Cantina is going to be at a different channel today at Miss Rosaling's right there. And at 9:30 Central Standard Time. I will try to drop by if it's still going on when I get home. I have tickets to Spider-Man tonight. And in fact, I think we've got like 15 people going tonight. So it's going to be a blast. We haven't done this literally. It's been small groups, like 6 people. So, but now that the theaters are opened up a lot more here, we're able to finally go. So I can't wait. But I really want to thank Rosaling. Amber Ann was also, okay, a lot of you guys are willing to pop up and help out with Cantina. So keep your eyes out all the time. Rosaling's going to have it going for a little while if she has to close it down. The one fun thing about Cantina is it's a pop-up cantina. It goes anywhere and everywhere at times. So please enjoy it. She's already posted the link to it. In fact, she just did it right there. Thank you, Rosaling. Thank you so much. So for all of you guys, I really thank you all so much for joining me today with this discussion. I hope to talk to you in the future. I will definitely be seeing you guys in chats and Discords and DMs and, all the rest of the stuff because I just have fun talking. Okay, so hope you guys are having a great time getting ready for Christmas and all that. And I will be seeing you guys later. Talk to y'all and aloha. Bye-bye.